get it the right way. So they use salt as the covenant. So now, he made the seal with David. So now, salt is officially part of the Jewish culture, because when they made the covenant with David, he sealed the covenant with salt. So now, as the Jewish culture continued to evolve, when they go to make their sacrifice, it was not a requirement to make every sacrifice with salt. How we know that? In Leviticus chapter 2, verse 1, it says, "Season all your grain offering with salt. Do not leave the salt on the covenant of your God out of the grain offering. Add salt to all your offering." Add salt to all your offering. Believe it or not, I'm almost done already. Add salt to all your sacrifice. So now, Jesus is teaching, when you go to the temple, he's speaking to the ancient Jewish culture. When you go to the temple and you make a sacrifice on the altar, and you're giving a sacrifice of meat, or you're giving a sacrifice of grain, you're giving a sacrifice, make sure you incorporate salt into that sacrifice. But Dr. Brown, I'm taking them somewhere. But then he said, when you include the salt, but there's something I don't want you to include into your sacrifice. Well, what was that thing? He said, do not add no honey or no ripe fruit to your sacrifice. What is he talking about? Just keep following me. I promise you I'm going somewhere. So when you go to the sacrifice table, when you go to the altar, I need you to put salt with your sacrifice. But don't put no honey, don't put anything sweet. I want it to be salty, not sweet. But what did they do after they placed the sacrifice in the altar? They burned the sacrifice. And the word of God said when they burned the sacrifice, it's a sweet aroma into the nostril of God. But God said, but it's easy to use honey to make a sweet smell in my nostril. But what I want you to use for that burnt sacrifice to be sweet in my nostril, I want you to use salt. Get to the point, Pastor Jeffrey. Here you go. When you come to church or you live your day-to-day life, and you making sacrifice unto God, God don't want the sweet honey sacrifice. God don't want us to walk around, we smiling. God don't want to just come to church every Sunday. You dropping your $10 in the offering plate. You sing your 2 fast song, 1 slow song, and you go home and you live like the devil for the rest of the week. But God is saying this, when you are making a sacrifice, I need that sacrifice to be salty. I need you to bring salt into your sacrifice. Bring me something that lime, something that preserved. I need your sacrifice to be salty. Here go where you get upset now. I believe we have moved to a culture of honey when God have called us to a culture of salt. We are being sweet when God have called us to be salty. Oh, they joy, they're going to be mad. Oh, they're going to be mad here. We as the church, we have come to a place where we want to agree with everything. We don't want to offend nobody. We got to be all inclusive, right? You can't leave anybody out. But my Bible said the gospel is offensive. My Bible said that we have to be the light of the world. We got to be salty. You can't live any old way and think you're going to heaven. You can't come to church and talk in tongues and cuss me out to that. You got to be a little bit salty.